Hello and welcome to AWS Made Easy. This is the show where we talk about AI, about FinOps, about cost optimization, about all things AWS really, spanning in scope. Now, today we're going to talk about the upcoming FinOpsX conference. My name is Stephen Barr.
Hi everyone, I'm Rahul Subramaniam and super excited to talk about FinOpsX. We haven't really touched on FinOps that deeply in the recent past. It's all been about AI and AWS. FinOps kind of took a little bit of a backseat, but it's back again. The annual FinOpsX conference.
Well, I guess it's always the question that comes up when a new toy comes out is, well, how do we pay for all this? And, and what does it cost? And so I guess FinOps, it's a good time for us to revisit and circle back to FinOps. And especially with FinOpsX, let's put the website on screen here. They have a counter. Let's have a look.
So for all the newbies who are not familiar with FinOps or the entire space of FinOps, FinOps is basically not only a practice, but also an organization. It's a not-for-profit organization under the Linux Foundation, and it is meant to educate and collaborate and build a community around the best practices around FinOps. FinOps as a practice is all about how you look at costs, how you look at efficiency, how you look at engineering best practices, and bring in all these three communities, which is finance, engineering, as well as the business folks together to arrive at an efficient way of doing things instead of things being in a silo. So it's relatively young. It's about 4 or 5 years now, but it has grown phenomenally in that period.
And one thing that's really neat is that they are covering multiple clouds, because what I've seen in other tech fields, tech subfields, is that once one particular organization can kind of dominate, then they have their own conference with their own vocabulary. And if you're coming into it from some parallel world, it can be hard just to learn the terminology.
Correct.
An example of this would be Salesforce, right? They have their entire world is completely their own. And you
That's correct.
Right. And with their own set of vocabulary, their own conference, their own everything. And that's just a different way of doing it. But now with FinOpsX, right, with the looking here, the first one, the focus strategy, that's basically how do you look at your cloud bill, whether it's GCP or AWS or Azure or Oracle Cloud.
Correct.
How do you look at your cloud bill? So that's good that get all these people on the same page so we don't have parallel universes evolving.
Correct. And being involved in the FinOps org for the last nearly 3.5, 4 years almost, I forgot how long, I can say that there's a phenomenal amount of work that has gone in behind the scenes to actually bring all the different cloud providers into this org and getting them to work, seamlessly, cohesively with each other and collaboratively with each other has been an incredible achievement of this organization. So very proud of all the work that has gone in, an incredible amount of effort, both from the cloud provider side as well as the FinOps org and all the participants as well.
Yeah, it's neat that they're all willing to play ball, so to speak.
Correct.
That's good.
It's rare these days, but it's an absolute delight when that actually happens.
And looking at the countdown timer, we are at 9 days, 8 hours, 1 minute, 34 seconds. So it's getting close,
Very
not too close.
Correct. So there's a ton of stuff that's packed into this this agenda for FinOpsX. FinOpsX is the annual conference of the FinOps org. It's an amazing place to come in and meet all the practitioners of FinOps. Interestingly, FinOpsX is one of those conferences where they do not have any salespeople participating in the organization. FinOpsX is primarily led by folks who are practitioners, folks who are either providers, but more from a engineering standpoint, people who can offer best practices that can be shared with all the community, and also the cloud service providers who are coming in and offering their insights about how to be efficient and all the things that they are seeing. So there's so much to learn. It's one of these amazing, relatively small compared to a lot of other communities, relatively small, but incredibly effective and incredibly talented community that you get to learn from a lot.
Well, I guess for a basis of comparison, we just mentioned Salesforce. The Salesforce conference in San Francisco is 250,000 people, isn't it?
Correct. And I think last 2 years we've had between 2.5 to 4,000 folks coming up to FinOpsX. I'm not sure how many folks are expected this time. I'm expecting that it wouldn't be more than 5 to 6,000.
Okay, Perplexity just corrected me. It's about 175,000. So still big.
Absolutely. Yeah. So in comparison, this is a lot more intimate. You actually get to meet people. And if you are planning to go to FinOpsX and this is your first time, I will guarantee that it's going to be an incredible experience. Take the time to meet with people. The people are all amazing. They are very, very friendly. And it's one of those places where all the silos, all the little, nuanced cliques kind of get broken up. And you get to actually meet with other practitioners who are facing exactly the same problems that you are. So it's a great place to exchange notes, great place to learn, and great place to understand what everyone else is doing as well.
Well, let's have a look at the agenda and just get a feel for what's going on. So see the agenda here. Okay, so June 2nd, they have a thing called pre-con. I think some early networking that you can add on as a feature. Correct. Now, let's have a look and see what else is here. Okay, so obviously AI is going to be talked about. This is, I think any conference, AI is going to be talked about.
Correct. And AI is the big deal right now because, again, people really don't know how to measure costs. Things are changing so rapidly. New services are coming up every other day. And you have a unit called token that no one really understands. Very hard to predict how many tokens you will consume as well. So I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of challenges around how people are looking at AI-related costs, how to do estimates, things like that, and tons to learn. So there's going to be a lot of stuff around AI in these conversations.
For sure. I'm going to fill out my my agenda as we're speaking here. I'm adding this AI interactive workshop Chalk Talk. This is with Precon, optimizing for value. Let's have a look at this. FinOps scopes.
Yeah.
Building executive buy-in. This is an interesting one because this is how do you actually get your organization led from the top down on FinOps, right? Because you can have the FinOps incentives throughout organizations show up sometimes top down, but sometimes bottom up.
Right.
And so what the executive buy-in, what have you seen in terms of trying to get buy-in at companies?
Yeah, so there are two types of organizations, like you just said. One is organizations that are top-down. The other ones are organizations that are bottom-up or initiatives that are bottom-up. And I think FinOps invariably ends up becoming one of these bottom-up initiatives. Wherever it is top-down, it's way easier to get things to work. But FinOps is not one of those things that typically starts off as a top-down approach or a top-down initiative. It usually starts off with a few folks taking the initiative to get together and figuring out how to do things more efficiently. And then they have to literally get buy-in, not just within their little org or within their verticals, but across the org. And that becomes really hard. You need to get multiple parts of the organization who have different owners and different priorities to all not only speak the same language, but then also make sure that the initiatives have the right priorities across the different groups so that things actually move and things get done. And that is one of the most challenging things you could come across. So figuring out how to get this done is actually, incredibly, incredibly important. I've had my take on how this should be done. But yeah, this I'd be watching this session to figure out what are the new insights over this.
All right, I'm going to add that. Just added. So this is executive buy-in, and it's interesting. We look from the CloudFix perspective. It's exactly that. Sometimes we'll get a CFO who's non-technical but reads about CloudFix and the savings we get them and just says, "Okay, guys, everyone do this." And that's great. That's the way in. But sometimes it's like you said, there's a department, they exist within a largely non-technical organization, and they have to figure out how do they get buy-in? How do they talk to the accounting people? And even like we talked about earlier, terminology, right? Like I'm very lucky that I have a business background and a tech background, and so I could, the things like cost of capital and ROI and EBITDA, right? But it is learning a foreign language.
True.
And so how do you get on board and talk in the terms of the accounting and the finance people?
Yeah.
So, okay.
I do have a little bit of a biased opinion about who should be our driver here and how you can actually reduce friction. But again, lots of interesting perspectives depending on which org or what kind of an org you belong to.
Yeah.
And tons to learn over here.
Let's have a look. Let's see. There's AWS Social Mixer. Okay, I'm going to go to that. Obviously, we're in the AWS side of things. Sorry, Azure folks. But yeah, I'll go to the AWS Social Mixer. Let's have a look at this.
Yeah, there are tons of amazing events. And I think broadly the two themes are going to be, or the big themes are actually going to be AI and the next thing called Cloud Plus.
Cloud Plus. Tell us about Cloud Plus. What is that?
Yeah, so Cloud Plus is actually a very interesting new layer that is getting added to these conversations, which is, it's not just the bill that you see showing up in your, AWS console or in Azure or GCP or whatever cloud provider you're using. But there are other costs involved in how you actually manage your business. For example, there are things like, what is the cost of the electricity? What is the cost of, and there's one aspect which is cloud provider side, how they look at their costs. What about carbon emissions? What about, how do you manage your carbon credits? How do you ensure that, environmental impact is being measured the right way? How do you ensure that you have all the right CapEx and OpEx buckets taken care of, including headcount in your budgeting, in your costing? So there are all those elements which go beyond just your cloud bill. And sometimes your cloud bill could be really tiny and these other costs could be significantly higher. Sometimes it's relatively more balanced. But for different phases of an organization, I think you have to understand what you care about and how you measure it.
I was just thinking about, imagine if we had a data center where you had pricing, like say if you had some solar powered data center, and I've done off-grid solar before, and so I know the amount of power you get varies quite a bit. And so imagine if you said, okay, it's sunny right now in Arizona, so the prices are really low. And if you have the ability to dynamically load shift your load over to the solar powered data center when it's sunny, that would be really cool. You could do things that could change your carbon footprint, right? Maybe, say, I don't know how US East 1 is powered, but maybe there's one coal powered data center and then there's another solar powered one, and you could, load shift as needed based on some dynamic information. That would be cool.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think
there are multiple different dimensions of that.
So you mentioned earlier this one by Meta kind of captures some of that FinOps or the FinOps Plus.
Correct. The Cloud Plus.
Cloud Plus. Okay. So this is interesting because they don't use that term in here, but they're talking about OpEx.
Yeah, but there are a few talks. You'll see a bunch of Cloud Plus talks that have been scheduled. If you just search for Cloud Plus, no, it's just Cloud and the plus sign.
Got it. Cloud Plus.
Yeah. So you'll see a few talks. I just saw one a little while ago.
Well, here's the
they're Cloud Plus scopes. Yeah, Cloud Plus scopes.
Okay, I'm going to add this one, and it's a Keynote Cloud panel. That's pretty good. Well, I mean,
so this one is going to be interesting. You're going to have AWS, Microsoft, Google, and Oracle all on the stage at the same time, and I think GR is going to be moderating that panel discussion, which is going to be interesting as well.
That is, yeah.
I don't know of any other place where all four cloud providers show up on the same stage.
Yeah, this is going to be cool.
And then usually FinOpsX is also used as an event to announce FinOps related announcements from each of the cloud providers. So don't miss out on those. I'm pretty sure that AWS, Google, Microsoft will all be announcing their versions of new capabilities and features related to focus, related to all the new capabilities that are coming up.
Well, speaking of that, our friend Bowen Wang put out a blog post on the AWS blog about FinOpsX 2025 guide. I'll put the link to this in the comments. But what's really cool, there is exactly what you just mentioned. There is, let's have a look at some of these talks, but there's a what's new talk. Here we go. What's new with AWS cost optimization? So
correct.
Exactly as you said. Let's zoom in a bit more. There we go. Where is it? What's
new FinOps?
Here it is. What's new with cost optimization?
Yeah.
So, and this will have Rick Oakes and Jimmy Yang, who we both talked to at the end of re:Event, and Liam Greenmeyer. This is going to be great. New capabilities in the cost optimization space. See how you can leverage them to monitor your research performance. So that's going to be Compute Optimizer and the related family of products. So make sure you go to that. There's another one I saw. Adapting your FinOps playbook for generative AI costs by Steph Gooch and Adam Richter. Definitely go to this. That's going to be cool.
Absolutely. And I would also say that don't miss out on the AWS socials. There's an amazing space that AWS usually takes up during FinOpsX. It's a great place for all the, for you to meet up with all these folks, whether it's Rick, whether it's Steph, the entire team over there. They are amazing folks who love to meet customers, who love to understand what their problems are and will go out of their way to help you. So this is an amazing place to go build those bonds. When you go to an event like re:Invent, you have 65,000 people. These events, these socials are a lot more intimate. The AWS social typically has about 100 to 200 people. It's a lot easier to meet up with everyone over there and actually have a real conversation. So build up those relationships, meet up with these people. They're all incredible folks that we've had the pleasure of knowing for a few years now. So yeah, we'll really encourage you to take that step and go meet up with them.
Well, I think I first met Steph at 2 FinOpsX's ago.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. It's been happening since then. There's the Frugality Fest workshop. Gather your dream team of 3 to 4 FinOps practitioners and embark on a hands-on experience of optimizing AWS application costs. That's kind of cool. So they're going to give you a test account, and you can figure out. They're probably going to turn on S3 intelligent tiering, take you through Compute Optimizer, change your Lambda over to Graviton, RDS. You want to kill the multi-availability zone, things like that.
That's right.
So, quick 30-second commercial. CloudFix can do this for you. But it's awesome to know how to do it by hand. CloudFix can also do this for you. But check that out.
Magically.
Yes. Here, this is a cool one. Achieving 30% cloud cost savings with Lockheed Martin's FinOps story, led by Yuri Prokopyev and Diane Kozoblis.
Correct. Yuri is another amazing person to meet up with. For those of you who don't know, that Yuri has been instrumental in getting the cost dashboards up and running, and they are absolutely amazing. The amount of insights that you get out of those dashboards is absolutely incredible, and you can get that right out of the box. So go meet up with Yuri. He'll give you all the insights. Yuri is always ready to listen to customers and all the problems that they have. He's super sweet. He will do all he can to get your next feature request in if it's helpful to everyone else. And an incredible person to meet with. So don't miss out on meeting up with Yuri when you're at FinOpsX.
Yeah, absolutely. This is great. I just put this I'm adding it to my agenda real time. So I'm doing this for myself. I'm glad everyone else benefits. I'm doing this for myself. Let's see. The other breakout sessions. And the AWS booth to meet the optics team. I know Savannah Jensen had posted she's going to be there. There's going to be lots of people shuffling through on the optics team and cloud financial management. So the booth is open basically the whole time. and
Correct.
the leadership keynote. So James Greenfield, VP of AWS Commerce, and John Phillips, Director of AWS Insights and Optimization Product. So these are going to be, like you said, unveil exciting announcements during the day 2 keynote. So
Correct.
that's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and the AWS
I would say,
party.
just like reInvent, there are a few tips that I want to kind of share here. You're never going to have enough time to go attend every single session that's going on at FinOpsX. It's going to be really hard to keep up with everything that's going on. Make sure you attend the keynotes. Those are great opportunities to get the overall gist of everything that's going to happen so you can prioritize right when you're there. Second is take the time to meet with people and to spend the time with people. The talks will happen. There are recordings that'll be posted at some point. You can always catch up on some of those, but it's always going to be the people. An opportunity like this to actually meet people face to face, one-on-one, and build those relationships, that is hard to come by. So make the most of this opportunity. San Diego is an absolutely beautiful place. This is right by the sea. It's got an amazing location. And the way they organize their events are also really awesome. So make the most of those. And of course, you also have the biggest social of all during this conference, which is the aircraft carrier dinner.
That was really cool. Let's check out the agenda to make sure they're still to see what they're doing.
Let's make sure that.
Okay, I'll put them. I just, while you were talking, registered for the AWS Social Mixer. Because you were saying, okay, it's got to be about the people. I remember I'd added it to my agenda, but I hadn't registered for the actual event.
Got it.
Check out. This is called FinOut.
Yes.
So
it's called FinOut. It's an incredible event on top of the aircraft carrier. And
see, where do we learn about
really
FinOut?
awesome.
This must be what is this? FinOpsX days? No,
yeah,
this is the individual agenda. Let's have a look at the agenda again. And this is going to be on Wednesday night.
Yeah, generally from 5 p.m. onwards is on the deck. 5 or 6 p.m. onwards.
FinOpsX official party, Marriott Marquis.
Oh, they're not doing the FinOut over there. Interesting. Okay, change of plan.
Well, when it was on the aircraft carrier, they had a Tom Cruise impersonator. That was really fun.
That's true.
But yeah, FinOpsX official party at the Marriott Marquis. That will be. I'm sure they'll do a good job.
I'm pretty sure that they will.
Yeah, their events are top notch. So
absolutely
good.
And yeah, everyone is incredibly down to earth. Go meet up with them. There's so much to learn. The other event that actually it's not really an event, but the mechanics of this conference that I've absolutely loved is during lunchtime, instead of everyone just grabbing something and walking around, they actually have a sit-down place. They turn the entire the main conference room into a big dining room with tables where you can sit around and eat. And it's such an incredible way of organizing things because you meet up with 10 other people who are in roughly the same place that you are at. They're trying to solve the same problems. They have the same hurdles, and yet they have diverse experiences. And so it's such an incredible opportunity to learn from them, to talk to them, make new bonds, make new relationships. It's absolutely awesome.
And it's small detail, but they have this, you can do this outdoors. They have outdoor space for this. Because sometimes a lot of these conferences, you're like, okay, it's really stuffy. I just want to get outside for 20 minutes. I'm kind of wasting a little bit of time to network, but I need to get some fresh air. Here you can do both. So you get some outdoor, you get some fresh air that have actually tables outside with the buffet outside as well.
Correct.
So it's really nice. Yeah. Something that wouldn't be as reliable to do here in Seattle, but it's San Diego.
It is San Diego. So a beautiful, beautiful location and not an event to be missed. Unfortunately, I am at the other end of the world, and I'm not going to be able to make it this time. But Steven, you're going to be there.
Yes, I'll be there for the whole thing. So I'll be your eyes and ears on the ground, and I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. it'll be it's short compared to reInvent,
Yes.
but that's good. I mean, it'll be a fun time, so I'm really looking forward to that.
No, absolutely. Anything else that we want to keep in mind about FinOpsX?
Well, I'll also post my meeting link. So if you want to meet up and chat about cloud costs, our way of doing it through CloudFix, or just want to chat in general, I'll post a meeting link for my own calendar as well. And we've got a cloudfix.com/FinOpsX 2025 page. So I'll post some updates there as they happen. And, follow us on, if you're watching this, follow LinkedIn, on X. I think LinkedIn we keep the most current. So follow us on LinkedIn, and I'll be posting updates as they happen.
Absolutely. And one last thing, during FinOpsX, we will do our best to make sure that we are getting you live information. If you, like me, are not there in person, we're going to count on Stephen to kind of give us the daily rundown of what's going on over there. And so keep your eyes open for that. We will send out links for the live stream as we look at what's going on the ground.
Absolutely. All right. I'm looking forward to being able to do that for all of you. Okay, well, we're going to wind up this episode. I hope you all have a great weekend, or if you're watching this next week, have a good week. Don't forget to register for FinOpsX if you haven't already, and register for the mixers. I'd almost forgotten to actually, I'd added it to my agenda, but I hadn't actually registered for the mixer. So that's done now. Make sure you register, and we'll see you there.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.